I just have always had a very strong belief in speed, and we've tried to address that with free agency, with Philip Dorsett, Marvin Jones. We have a good young group of receivers that can run well, and we have two good backs. This is a multi-dimensional back that we've kind of, from day one, I know Coach Bevel and Shoddy and I both feel that, the idea of offense is to create matchup nightmares, and I've had some good fortune over the years to have a guy that can do both. Flex out, he's as good outside as he is as a receiver as he is as a running back. So high-end character guy that has elite speed, and really, really excited. Got a little tense there at near the end. So I'll take some questions.
How much of just watching Trevor allowed you to see more of Travis and kind of feel where he would fit in?
That's a good point, Andy. I think just watching, the first thing you do when we got hired in January is just watch quarterbacks over and over again. I know Travis, just from my time at Ohio State, and even the last 2 years, the fact that the Buckeyes have played him, hours upon hours upon hours. And the way we've always looked at offensive football is that, just over the years, anytime you can find that dual threat guy, the guy can carry the ball and catch the ball, obviously the name that comes up is Percy so often. I'm not saying he's a Percy, we'll find out, but he's a guy that he's a piece of the puzzle that's kind of hard to cover.
Not that you
hard
have
to
any
defend.
worries about Travis, but does it help bringing in a guy he's familiar with, one of his teammates?
Yeah, we had a conversation, and I'd say once a week for the last 3 weeks is, okay, how do you get a guy successful? Have a very strong run game. Okay, we took Manhertz to help extend the offensive line, which is basically what he is. He's one of the best blocking tight ends in the National Football League. That's one way to help a young quarterback have you add Carlos Hyde to a already 1,000-yard rusher, James, and so you have fresh legs pounding on people. And then you try to create a little more depth at wide receiver. We did that, attacked that in free agency, and then we had a chance to go with this with Travis. The issue is going to our offensive line's got to play better. That's the next. But we've also sunk a tag into Cam Robinson, and he's got to play really well. Our offensive line's got to play really well. We're confident that we have good players there. So.
How do you envision James and Travis, complementing each other?
Well, I got Carlos too, and so I see Carlos and James, the 1-2 downhill, powerful running backs, and I see Travis. There's times we could be in two backs, and Travis is a guy that goes out, or we're still playing with it. But he's certainly a third down back, and he's a guy that he's a matchup issue for a defense.
Building off that, Urban, what have your conversations, I know he's a quiet guy, but what have your conversations been with James and Carlos about possibly adding a guy like Travis and what his experience and what James's experience was like last year?
No, they're different backs. I've not had that conversation yet. They're off tomorrow, and I might give them a call. It's a good thought, but I didn't know how this is going to break. So, and it's the confidentiality that you start talking too much. I found out that it's best to zip your lip and let it get through the draft. So, at some point I'll talk. Those two are doing great though. We're very our goal is to be in the top fourth at every position. And I think we solidified that with James, Carlos, and Travis. We're good at running back.
Was the goal to try and get Travis today as opposed to possibly waiting a little bit, or was?
That's a good question. This is all the board. It's really it was an education for me, because just think about this, Mike, that for 30 years you've stacked your players vertically. That means the best running back to the 15th best running back, and you start recruiting them. And as this guy's out, you just keep going. Now you do it horizontally, and that's the whole value place. Okay, you're looking at a guy like Travis, then maybe a safety, maybe a corner. And then we just, as a staff, decided, or Trent and I made a decision, let's go with this one.
Did you have conversations with Trevor about Travis and Travis about Trevor? And if so, which one did you do more prodding?
We have a good relationship. We've used up all the Zoom calls with those guys, and the Zoom bill is awful high around here. We went with more of the Trevor asking him about Trevor asking him about Travis.
Urban, now that Trevor's official, when did you really know he was the guy? Can you tell us, like?
Probably the end of the month, you know, January, early February. You know, we spent, I'd say a good, probably a month. You know, we kind of had ideas, but there was some good Zoom calls with those other two quarterbacks. Very good players. I'm glad to see. High-end character guys, very good leaders, tough competitors. But we feel good about our quarterback.
The two guys you took have played a lot of football in the college level. Didn't opt out. You didn't have any of those kind of questions. Is that important as you were talking about trying to make sure you learned as much as you possibly could about these guys? How big a part did that play?
Yeah, they're winners. You know, I have a great relationship with their coach, so I know about as much as you possibly can about Travis and Trevor. And the fact they're winners, they're elite competitors, and I still think there's a lot of wear and tear left on them. You know, obviously Trevor only played the 3 years, but then Travis has played a lot of football, but there's still, you look at he's still got a lot left. He's a fast guy, real great speed.
As we're at the end of the day, what was your first day as an NFL head coach during the draft like?
Well, it broke at the end. I mean, that's the first time, and I'm sitting there, and I mean, it's like 4th and 1, watching to see who the Steelers were going to take, and they took a great player, but, you know, the guy that we kind of had penciled in, we had him.
Let's take one more in here, and then we've got one on Zoom.
Dabo was talking about Trevor's normal has been this massive expectations, really since high school. How much did having to deal with that mentally, as long as he had, affect the decision to take him in a situation where he's the #1 overall pick and kind of is going to be considered, hey, you're the guy to lead this franchise?
Played a significant role. You know, I mean, and we're going to be cautious. You know, I talked to Shad, and I've talked to, obviously, our GM agrees. The most important thing for Trevor is to learn the offense. It's not to sell billboards around the state of Florida, and we're going to be very cautious about that. You know, and the good thing is that that's very important to him. He's not a guy, as you can see, he's not even at the draft. His focus, he wants to live here, he wants to move here, he wants to train here, he wants to, you know, win. And that, obviously, that's very appealing to our staff.
Gus Mal's on already bought all the billboards, so don't worry about it.
What's that?
UCF and Gus Mal's already bought all the billboards.
I can't hear you.
I said UCF and Gus Mal's already bought all the billboards, you don't worry about it.
Did he really?
Selling.
Oh, recruiting?
Okay, Alex, go ahead. We'll take one more.
By the way, I'm out of that recruiting world, so I'm good. He can have them all.
Hey, Urban. Yeah, here on the Zoom. Obviously, you got your quarterback today. You feel like you've rounded out the running back unit. What is your biggest priority going into tomorrow?
I've been warned, so I can take you guys have heard me say it before. I'm really happy that we took Travis and changed the subject on you. We do have some needs to fill, but that's in-house right now.